Hello everyone! We Sonic the Hedgehog Gamer here. Frustrating with how freaking... I don't know why this game's being a pain, and I am saving because I forgot to save. Meh meh meh. The day of Hanako's birthday party is finally here. To be honest, I'm looking forward to seeing Hanako and Lily in their pajamas again. Hanako's gown has grown on me as looking rather cute, though a bit conservative. Lily's short and thin silken top are a lovely combination. But the event is stained a little with the memory of Hanako's reaction to it. I still don't understand what happened, only being able to vaguely guess at the possible reasons for it, but I don't think finding the answer will be as straightforward as asking her. With that in mind, I knock on the door next to Hanako's. Is that you, Hisao? Yeah, it's me. You can hear the pitter-patter of footsteps coming to the door, followed by the sound of the lock snapping open. I don't think I've ever seen Lily's door locked before, and it makes me a little suspicious. Once the door opens, the sight is a little underwhelming for a birthday party. It's the same! Hanako returns to her seat at the table with a quick smile and a nod, leaving me to close and, assuming they wanted to be kept that way, lock the door. As I do, I realize that the scene before me is the same as that of an evening tea party, just like any other between the two. Somehow, I don't think I should be surprised. To my relief, Hanako looks relatively calm. The break from class has probably done her good and given her time to wind down a bit. Take a seat between the two at the low table in the center of Lily's room, the brightly colored teapot steaming away between us. A tall brown bag closed by Lily's side catches my attention. I covertly try to glance inside it a couple of times, but can't get a good look from here. Looking to Hanako, it seems she is as curious about it as I am. Hey, Lily. Lily finishes off her teacup, raises to her lips before setting it down and giving me her attention. Yes? I was wondering about that brown bag. She pauses for a moment, then gives a slightly cheeky smile. That would be Akira's present. Unfortunately, she said she was working and can't join us. Lily leans over and fills up the item inside before raising her arm. I raise an eyebrow as two items. Not one rises from the bag. The glass necks are grasped by Lily on either side of her middle finger, so that's why she had the door lock. Wait. What are you drinking tonight, boys? Wine. These are two small thuds as the bottles are brought to rest on the table. One red, one white. I want to believe that it's fake, non-alcoholic wine, but if it was, there wouldn't be any need to be this circumspect. Alcohol? Seriously? Are you sure this is a good idea? Lee smiles politely and giggles. I'm not really convinced that she is. These would be the present for my sister. I know it's a bit questionable, but a little shouldn't hurt. If Lily took serious issue with it, I don't think she'd agree quite so easily. That aside, I had Akira squared as a serious and responsible type. Maybe like an older Lily, but it looks like I was wrong. We're not even legally able to drink yet. Well, in that case, I won't complain. They don't look bad either. 1991. I wouldn't forget it. It was the day the Grizzly Motors. Oh wait. I'm no connoisseur, but at least the bottles look nice. Apart from a petit glass of wine or two given from my father at family gatherings, I haven't really had enough to know what's what. Okay, so Hisao has had some alcohol before. That, and I can't really say that I'm a total straight edge. Going by Hanako's expression, she's thinking the same. And it's her birthday anyway. Shall I open one? Sure, I'll get some. Oh, my heart skipped. I just wonder what the shake was that I just froze. My heart skips as I hear three sharp bangs come from Lily's door. Hanako's head flicks around, and Lily's eyes close as she listens intently. None of us wants to be busted for this. Who is it? Let me in! I'm cold! Lily's a resigned sigh before motioning for Hanako to open the door. She obediently gets up and fusses with her gown before moving. Apparently still not quite sure of who it is, but trusting enough in Lily to do as she requests. I can just see a blonde, dark-suited figure become visible over Hanako's shoulder as she opens the door. Happy birthday, Hanako! Thank you, Akira! Hanako gives a small bow while twiddling her finger in front of her. So this is Lily's elusive sister. Let's see. Oh. I probably should give her the same voice as I gave that. I need to do something different. But looking at her... Why does she remind me of Len? Hold on, I need to take a screenshot of that and send it to my Vocaloid expert later. Akira follows Hanako to the table after shutting the door behind her, giving me plenty of time to have a good look at her. She looks to be about the same height as Hanako, and has short blonde hair that's quite roughly cut. That, in addition to her rather modest breasts, masculine suit, and deep voice, gives her quite an Angodious effect. Without further ado, she plops herself down on the side of the table across from me. It's nice to have your company after all, Akira. Did work let you off? Yep, I had to go back there in a bit, but I managed to get enough of a break to drive down. So, this is Hisao then? Governor's smile gets thrown in my direction, so I nod politely in return. Considering she just jumped straight to using my first name, she's much more informal than her appearance would suggest. Wait, if she knows who I am, that must mean Lily talked about me with her. Wonder what she said. Sorry for not introducing you, Hisao. This is Akira Satao, my older sister. I see. Nice to meet you. Person in question loudly clasps their hands together, making Hanako jump a little bit. He knows this and looks uneasy for a fraction of a second before getting back into her stride. Only now do I realize that Akira hasn't paid Hanako's scars any undue attention. Hanako also seems to be comfortable, if not exactly relaxed, around Akira. Well then, I said the presents got through. No point in waiting, considering Hisao and the birthday girl look like they're pretty eager. Lily giggles as I awkwardly turn away, a little embarrassed by the fact that I couldn't hide my interest. Hanako's eyes are telling me that she wants to try the wine together with me, though, so I settle for a look of badly feigned indifference. Akira manages to cork the first bottle with little effort, and Hanako goes to get some glasses before I get to pour the 4 of them full of white wine. Aw, you should have done the red! I heard red's good. At least when I was drinking the non-alcoholic, what we call kid wine, it's just sparkling water, but in my family we called it kid wine because one of my sisters had kid wine from a, wine glass, so they referred it to as kid wine, and I just followed suit. It's honestly awesome. Kid wine. But yeah, no, I prefer the red kid wine over the white. Anyway, that's somewhere that white wine has less alcohol than red wine, so I think it would be best to start with. Okay, fair enough! Here's the Hanako into Lily's trip. Cheers! Cheers. After the additional raising of the glasses, we all take sips of the pale yellow liquid. Something like the stuff I had with my parents, with the fruitiness of the flavor almost entirely hiding the taste of alcohol. Maybe this is what proper wine is supposed to taste like. Then again, it's possible that Akira just chose a wine which would be suited to our tastes, since none of us are used to alcohol yet. Yep, I learned my lesson the hard way. Don't get any of the strong stuff. When I was on the trip with, when I was at Disney, I actually tried alcohol for the first time. We were at Epcot, so we did not really around the world. We only had alcohol from 3 different places. The one I got from France was good once I realized how you're actually supposed to drink it and got used to it. That was my first ever alcohol. Ever? And I realized, oh, I'm supposed to let it melt a bit with the slush. The one I got from China was not great. And then, the one in Mexico, I kind of got Rose a bit tipsy off of it because I couldn't finish it. I got a strawberry margarita. And yeah, no, I could not get past the taste. It was, ugh. So Rose had to drink it, and she got tipsy. That's like the only time she got tipsy. It was hilarious. Well, at least, I hope none of us are. Sorry about that story, I just want to get into it. Okay, that's the context of that. This isn't bad. I was expecting something harsher. The margarita from Mexico would be harsh. If you hadn't liked it, and a few other variants you could have chosen from. You sound like you know your stuff when it comes to wines. Only a bit. I'm more of a beer kind of person. I have the drink side down pat, though. And then to prove a point, she refills her glass before bringing it to her lips and flicking her head back. Chug, 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 chug! Hanako and I suddenly watch as the whole glass full disappears down Akiva's throat. Chunk! Chunk! I can't decide whether to be impressed or put off. But I certainly don't have any urge to imitate this act. Lily grimaces slightly at her sister's boast. I know that she is sipping from her glass as she does so, though. Anyway, now that Akiva's gift has been opened and sampled, shall we move on to ours? Gifts? That's right. We got you your presents. It's your birthday after all. Sorry, I just want to listen to this music a bit. This is for me. Lily pulls out the carefully wrapped doll from under the desk and passes it to Hanako. Hanako handles the present as if it were glassware, carefully turning it over to remove the tape that binds the wrapping. Eventually, the paper falls from the doll, revealing the emerald green of the doll's dress. It's beautiful. Not sure what reaction I was expecting from Hanako. The near total lack of dolls in her room made me think that she didn't care about them. Look in her eyes now is something different. She turns the doll around with the same delicacy she afforded the wrapping, and then she was expecting it to fall apart in her hands. I'm glad you liked it. Hisao picked it out, to be honest. Hanako suddenly remembers that she is not alone in the room, and shifts her focus from the doll. Yes, I like it. Thank you, Lily, and Hisao. Actually, I got you something else. I reached into my bag and moved the wrapped chess set. Here, happy birthday. Hanako carefully sits Lily's doll next to her and opens my present with the same care that she showed Lily's. Before long, the checkered squares of the chessboard are visible. Hanako gently runs her fingers across the carved surfaces. Oh! Almost by accident, she triggers the catch to the lid, settling herself in the process. Oh, so the chess piece goes inside. Okay, so it's one of those. She opens it and retrieves one of the gray pieces. She seems to be absorbed in the chess pieces as she was in the doll before. They're coral. Natural coral, undyed, or so I am told. Thank you, Hisao. No problem. It's your birthday after all. And it was much cheaper than Lily's. Also, we keep using the trigger word. Hisao, I thought you learned your lesson 2 days ago, buddy. That's right. My birthday. Once again, Hanako's reaction seems a little off, but she carefully closes the board lid. I notice Akira's smile beginning to look very strained. What if she knows anything about what happened in class, given that she seems to be treading on eggshells around Hanako? I'll have to play you again sometime. I'll make sure I play you first. Happy Hanako! And that really is like a little Lily. Little Lily. Oh. I know you can't see my mouse, but I'm circling around the picture. She takes a small doll she received from Lily and holds it to her chest together with a small chessboard, putting the pieces on top. I was also expecting the chessboard to look a bit more fancy, but the act seems to settle her down somewhat, and we just sit in silence for a while. I think it's one of the few times I've seen her genuinely happy, cradling the friendship of two people in her chest as tightly as she can. Akira's freaking face. Thank you, Lily. Thank you, Hisao. Process of thing is, Hanako drops the chess piece and fumbles a bit in her rush to retrieve it. When she finds it, Hanako puts the chess set down and nervously gulps at her wine. It's as if the real world suddenly rushed back into her conscious as her fastest escape from it was a glass. Oh, as her fastest escape from it was in a glass. Hey there, you shouldn't drink it that fast. It is a party, Hisao. First saying that, there's a slightly concerned edge to her voice. Eventually, acquiescing, Lily proceeds to follow Hanako's lead, though not as eagerly. She looks to be taking small sips from her glass and letting the wine settle on her tongue before swallowing. I thought that is probably the best approach and do the same myself. Since this is kind of a going away party for you as well, I hope you enjoy your trip at least a little, Lily. Hopefully your aunt will be okay. I hope your aunt is okay too, Lily. Lily and I are slightly taken aback at Hanako's fervor to wish Lily well, despite her own familial situation. I'm a little impressed. My, thank you both. I'll be sure to convey your thoughts to my family when I meet them. It'll be fine. It'll all be fine in the end, Lily. Don't worry about it. Since the room's mood has become noticeably more sullen, I said to try and move things along. Well then, shall we start on the cake? We got cake! My tentative suggestion was the intended effect. Everyone lighted up considerably. Yes, please. Cake? I didn't know there was any cake. I picked one up before I came, along with some snacks. Well done, Hisao. At least one of us remembered to bring one. Everyone seems to welcome the distraction, so I retrieved the cake from my bag and started cutting it up. Okay, wait. What would happen if Lily brought cake as well? Was it just gonna be 2 sets of cakes, and one's for the go away and the other one's for Hanako, or? I'm thinking too much into this. Mixing wine and chocolate cake isn't something that I thought would work well, but none of us seem to mind. Conversation is temporarily suspended as we start to eat. I was initially aware of this idea. After Hanako's panic attack, I expected the worst from today, but I think Lily's idea of giving her good memories of her birthday is working. That and also having it shared with her going away party. From Hanako's reaction to her gifts, I can tell she was really appreciative. Hanako tries to pour herself another glass of wine, but ends up spilling some on the table. She has a couple by now, so considering that she's never had alcohol before, it's no wonder that she's feeling a bit lightheaded. Sorry, Lily. I didn't mean to make a mess. Don't worry, I got it. Lily reaches sideways and gently takes the first-thing Hanako in her arms, giving me pause. It's okay, Hanako. I'm just happy you're here. Hanako gives only a faint nod in response. It's fitting, I suppose, that Lily would be the one to support her like this. I have no idea what Hanako would be like if she hadn't. Thinking of two like this makes me appreciate the fact that I'm privy to such an intimate moment. Even Akira can't help but smile at the sight. I never would have thought I managed to find new friends so quickly, and all the more thankful that of all group, these two are the two I befriended. They slowly break off from one another, Hanako regaining herself somewhat while I quickly get myself back on task. Find a towel among Lily's tea set and start mopping up the spillage. By the time I finish, however, Hanako and Lily have managed to uncork the other bottle and have topped off the glasses! Hanako! Lily! Slow down! Looks like you were enjoying the wine. Then, just don't go too crazy with it after this, mind. We all dutifully nod and agree. But her reminder feels a bit silly given that she's the one supplying underage people with alcohol. Oh! You know they're getting drunk. I love how Lily looks like she's starting to get there. Hanako looks like she is more or less drunk. And Akira's just like, wow, I told you no. The second glass of wine goes down a lot quicker than the first. Before any of us notice, the single bottle is empty. While Akira is helping us finish them off, Hanako looks to be almost equaling her in the amount she had. My head feels a little light, but I think I managed to gauge my own tolerance surprisingly well. Hanako smiles lazily, toying with her doll's hair. I think it's a pretty safe bet that she hasn't monitored herself as well as I. I don't think it was Hanako's intention to get this drunk, but it seems that the alcohol hit her all at once. She's a very light frame, something which won't help her handle her booze very well either. Lily cradles her glass, running a finger around the rim. Her cheeks are rosy, but she's managing to avoid looking woefully drunk. Akira is, as I somewhat expected, largely unaffected. Her smile might be a little wider than before, though. Maybe. So, possibly a bit tipsy. And Hanako suddenly hiccups and accidentally knocks over the doll. I think I should maybe go to bed. Thank you, Hisao. Thanks, Lily. And Akira. She slows Akira's head pretty hard, barely avoiding breaking out into a giggle midway through. She's completely plastered, and I can't decide whether I should feel a little bad or not for being amused at the state she's in. It really is bizarre to see her acting so carefree. A shame that it's only with the help of alcohol. Here, let me give you a hand. Akira begins to get up to help Hanako out, but she's stopped when Lily gives a sharp cough. Hisao, would you please? Akira looks a little surprised, and I have to admit that I am as well. I don't mind the request at all, let alone when it's said with such a smile. It just comes rather unexpectedly. Sure, no problem. I pick up the chest set and help Hanako stand up. I do feel somewhat responsible for her, considering that, as an Akira, I'm probably the most sober person in the room. She nurses the doll in one hand and offers me the other. Well, I don't know exactly how I feel about that face, but as long as she's happy. We stumble out of the door and into the hallway and into Haneko's room. Haneko bumping into me a number of times on the way. Inside the room, I flick the light as Hanako turns her attention towards a shelf on her dresser. An elegant doll is sitting on it, staring into the bare room. There you go. You'll you'll be safe here. Ah, creepy doll! Hanako gingerly places the doll next to the other one and straightens its dress. They sit in silence, hair and clothes perfectly arranged, just like the teapot in Lily's room. They serve as a distinct contrast to the dull whites and grays that permeate her bedroom. Satisfied that her dolls, her only two real possessions, are safe, Hanako takes a step back and stands up, staggering severely. I step forward to catch her if need be, but she regains her balance without my help. For a while, both of us stand in silence as Hanako looks downwards to the cupboard. After a minute or two, she begins to sway a little from side to side. It's very off-putting. As someone that does that swaying from side to side is my default state, to be fair, I'm also kind of swaying right now. I swear I don't drink. Are you going to be alright? Hanako raises her head and turns around to me as if she only just remembered that I'm also in the room. What unexpectedly is that she takes 2 steps towards me and wraps her arms around my body, her head coming to rest against my chest. She's going to be embarrassed about this in the morning. I can feel her heart beating as all my senses feel like they're coming alive again, after the deadening through the previous drinking. The smell of wine on her breath, the feeling of her fingers through my clothing, the scent of her hair underneath my chin. My hands remain out in front of me, not daring to touch her. Temptation is there to hug her, to embrace her, to tell her everything will be fine. But this feels vague. Really, really vague. Ah! Hanako. But I want to stay with you and Lily. Hanako's slowly reminds me a bit of Misha. She probably wouldn't be pleased to hear that. You know I can't. You're a girl and I'm a guy. And after all, Lily needs to sleep. She gives a disappointed groan. Oh, she's pouting. Disappointed groan. It's so strange for her to act so forward. Don't worry, I'll see you again tomorrow, okay? Decided to rest my hand on her head to reassure her, saying that this is as far as I'll allow myself to go in terms of physical contact with her while she's in this state. Hanako's head nuzzles against my chest, makes me feel all the more uneasy with the situation. As her arms are tightened around my back, quickly decide to bail out. Rest my hands on her shoulder and give a firm but gentle push. Her grip tightens a little as I do, but she eventually breaks off. I don't want you to go. Hanako, please. Kiwana and Lily are going to start thinking weird stuff if I take too long here. It's perfectly true, too. I really don't want to take any chances. And I feel very uncomfortable right now. Shouldn't try to read anything into the way she's acting right now. I read that aside from alcohol lowering inhibition, I don't know. People can react to getting drunk in many different ways that don't necessarily reflect reality. And even without that, there are plenty of ways to interpret what she's saying. As long as she's safe, I'm going to try and get out of her room as soon as possible. And yeah, I gave up on reading that because I don't know if I was reading it right or wrong. Hanako hiccups again, looking a right mess as she stands and looks downcast at the center of the room. Her personality changed as she drank more and more, and now, all alone in her room with me, previous brightness seems to have left her. Or is she just acting upbeat to make sure we don't worry? Even if she was, what could I possibly do for her since I do the exact same thing in regards to my own condition? Distancing myself from my thoughts, I eventually managed to coil Hanako towards the bed, though her attempts to tame the wild sheets on it end up accomplishing little. Sorry about tonight, Hanako. I know you probably won't remember any of this, but happy birthday. Sorry I couldn't do more for you. Looks at me for a moment. I have no idea if what I said actually got through to her, but any chance to ask is lost as her eyes peacefully close. I sigh in relief before quietly backing away from her and leaving the room, flicking the light switch off as I go. I hesitate a little before opening the door to Lily's room again, quickly rehearsing what I should say if I get questioned about Hanako. After a few seconds, I still couldn't come up with anything. I open the door and make sure to close it behind me, lest any passing students catch a glimpse of the wine, before turning my attention to the 2 girls at the low table. Akira is casually smiling, as is Lily. I look at the change up from the mood in Hanako's room. Is that you, Hisao? Yeah, I got Hanako to her bed. She's sleeping now. That's good. I have to admit it, I hadn't thought she'd drink quite so much. Hey, it's fine. She's all safe and tucked up in bed now, with the way she is. She quickly shows off, though. Lily and I would hardly protest. For someone so anxious and fearful, drinking would give an easy out for those constant feelings. I wish I could do more for her. I feel useless. Look at Lily. I think back to what I asked myself in town. My relationship with her is that of a friend. Has only ever felt that way, but now I think I know why. Lily has been there for both Hanako and me since I first met her. But she's like that for everyone, trying to do her best to make them feel better. With that in mind, then what's the bond between me and Hanako? After rescuing our friendship, following the panic attack I overtly triggered during class, I feel like we're back to being friends, but she's in my mind more and more. I can't say I view any other girl in quite the same way, but maybe it's just a normal reaction to someone acting like this. What about the girl from the beginning that's forgetting her name? Because I haven't even read her name in so long. Say, Akira? She yawns before looking at me. It is getting pretty late. You know about what happened with Hanako, don't you? Yeah, Lily told me. I negotiated pretty hard for a break, so I could come down and help make her birthday a bit brighter. We get along pretty well. It's surprising to hear that from someone as extroverted as her, but if Hanako came to know her through Lily, maybe she had time to get used to Akira. And on that note, I better get going. I'm already gonna be late as it is. But it's already so late. Sorry, we got a bunch of work dropped on us, so overtime it is. She leaves herself with a grunt and heads past me towards the door. Just before she leaves, she turns back towards me. You haven't forgotten about the time for the flight and all the rest? Don't worry, I have everything ready. It's just a matter of packing when it gets closer to the time to leave. Atta girl. I'll see you later then. With that, she disappears through the door with her hand held high in farewell. Your sister is something, alright. Probably should have thought that comment through before saying it. Regardless, Lily seems quite amused at my appraisal. You okay after all that drinking? Not wasted and just hiding it well? I assure you, I am quite alright. I can moderate myself. You seem quite self-possessed as well, if I do say so myself. Well, yeah, I guess your motivation applies to me as well. Without hesitation, I took a seat at the table in front of Lily. Went to address this directly, if for no other reason than to sell my own thoughts. I've been meaning to ask, but it took me a while to make up my mind. Do you have any idea about what triggered the panic attack? I gather it was something to do with her birthday, but I don't know anything more. Even Akira was being really careful around her, so I assume she knows as well. Lily's smile drops. The gaiety of the birthday party now well and truly over. To be honest, I'm not sure of all the details myself. Hanako told you that she was in a house fire, showed me as much, after we met and spent a lot of time together. Other than that, she quite simply never told me. She never told you? Assuming the worst, what does she have to look back upon? A life of isolation, and possibly even the death of her family? Maybe even going as far as blaming her existence for their deaths? Even thinking about what little I know of Hanako's past is bleak. To have lived through all that, and to live on with those memories, must be infinitely worse. Lily looks similarly depressed, but I can see her rebuild at least some of her composure before my eyes. I get the feeling that both of us are talking more frankly than we might otherwise do thanks to the wine. But it feels like just talking this out is a good thing anyway. I feel kind of helpless about it. When it's put like that, what can I possibly do for her? I'm not wholly sure I should tell you this, but Hanako told me that you visited her the day after we both went to check on her. I must admit that I did not predict she would take such a step so quickly after what happened, nor did I expect you to. I think it was a nice gesture on your part. It wasn't much, really. It's just, at times like this, I sometimes think it would be better if we never had to leave Yamaku, or at least this town. I think it's so much easier without others around. Didn't expect Lily to look quite so troubled at what I say, and for a while she looks lost in thought. She moves to speak, but stops herself as soon as she does and rethinks. It's a bit off-putting. I think... Tell me, do you have anything planned for Friday evening? Friday evening? No. Isn't your flight to Scotland the next day? I don't think it would be a good idea to tire yourself out before you even get there. I'll be alright. You needn't worry about me. I'll do this tomorrow evening, but I imagine Hanako will be feeling rather off for a while. Thought of how she's going to be tomorrow makes me grimace. Maybe we should count our blessings that she didn't end up simply throwing up from drinking so much while having such a low tolerance. Well, I'm going to be able to attend whatever you are planning. What is it? Nothing unusual, I assure you. Just a little excursion. And you better be off, Hisao. I can't imagine it's long at all until curfew is here. Oh, curfew! I completely forgot! I look at the clock next to Lily's bed, but it seems to have some oddity with outwritten numerals. Which I suppose makes sense given Lily's condition. Not wanting to risk a haughty security protocol giving me a scolding, I get up and decide to go to my dorm as she says. Well then, I guess I'll see you tomorrow, and I'll see you in Hanako tomorrow. Assuming that both of you managed to get up in the morning. Thank you for your concern, Hisao. Until then. With that, I make my way out of her door and into the hallway. I hope her idea will be a good one. How long did that take? I'm not doing my usual. I'm going to be exiting out of full screen mode. Yeah, 36. Oh. The song continues if you stop it. I'm actually gonna save Knocking! I'm actually gonna save here. Okay, well, that's all for this time. This is Resunk the Jug Gamer. I hope you enjoyed the series so far, and I hope to see all you guys again next time. See you guys then.